Hello everybody, we are the Geeks and the Giants. I am Enzo, this is my forever co-host John, and today we talk about Ben Affleck's Daredevil. We're done with the MCU part of our lineup, and now we're going back to a different phase of comic book movies where they would never, 20% work and 80% you're like, you tried, man.
It's all style, not a lot of substance.
Yeah. There's one. You know what? We'll get to that. We'll get to that. But yeah, did you ever watch Daredevil? Ben Affleck's Daredevil back in the day, and where you're like,
Yes, I did.
you tried, man.
Well, watching it, I was just like, he wasn't my favorite like superhero because I was just like looking at the suit. I was just like, that looks uncomfortable.
Oh, thank God
yeah.
you mentioned the suit, because I'm like, it's good in my opinion. It's just the nose. I'm like, why is your nose sticking out? So
Like,
people,
yeah, right? It's like, here, why can't you just fully commit?
like,
you know?
that's one more one. If you slide it more upwards, that's one more point of being like, I recognize you. You're Matt Murdock. I'm surprised people don't recognize you when you're like, that's Matt Murdock. I can tell by his nose.
And like even his eyes are kind of weird as well, in my opinion. It looks very bug-like.
Yeah, right.
I like everything else about the suit. Like, I get it if you're gonna be like, it's a leather suit.
Yeah,
Fine, it looks great. It's just the face. It's just like the mask itself. It's just a little off.
yeah. I think it's just because people wanted people to be like, yeah, that's Ben Affleck, because he's a rising star, and they're like, we can't cover his entire face. What kind of superhero movie covers their actor's entire face? That's why Stallone's Dread, he takes off the helmet, and you're like, you're not supposed to take it off. That's the whole point of the character. And
He is the law. Anyway,
Yeah.
so is Matt Murdock.
But yeah, I do like. Do I like? 50-50 on like the Force puns or references of like, he is a man without fear, and like later on he's
I
like,
hated that it's on the nose a lot of times, where he's just like,
I'm a devil.
I'm
a
a devil.
A daredevil.
On buildings. I don't like a fight crime. I'm like, all right.
I'm a man, a Batman. I'm like, oh, that's too early. It's too early in your career.
I was like, you're not gonna be metaphorical about it, like, you know how they were with Batman, where they were like, oh, he's a knight, he's a hero, he's like a hero that we don't deserve. I'm like, yeah, that's metaphorical. That's like, that's well written. He's not like, he's a guy that dressed like a bat.
Dude, by the end of this movie, he's like, I'm a knight. I'm like, a dark knight. Sure.
Yeah, like, like, he's just too on the nose. Like, I perch like the gargoyles beside me. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. The acting is alright. I mean, this comes from the same guy who does Ghost Rider later on.
Cool. I love that movie.
Me too.
I will say, before the whole Daredevil thing started,
Yeah.
we had like this whole backstory where like, Matt Murdock's a kid, his dad's a boxer, his dad is supposed to be like a prize fighter,
Yeah.
and he's supposed to like take falls.
Mhm.
He's supposed to be that kind of guy. Dude, the boxing scenes were so good.
Yeah.
I was like, where'd this go?
Right. Like compared to some of the action here are good in my opinion. Like him taking on all those guys when he's trying to hunt down that guy he was trying to get to jail for sexually assaulting someone. I'm like, all right, this action is pretty cool. But yeah, the boxing scenes here, I'm like, well, what happened to the choreographer? Did he leave? Why?
Yeah, like it was really good, and then I love the story between him and his dad, where his dad's just like, well, Matt kind of want to learn how to fight like his dad, but he's like, no, don't put your energy into this.
Yeah, stick to books.
Be a doctor, be a lawyer,
Yeah.
something. And I'm like, this actually had a pretty good, beginning, until like this blanket started doing like the speedball very well. I'm like, I can see very well, and I can't do that shit
Right.
like that fast.
Unfortunately, his dad is in debt to Hector Salamanca. I'm like, oh, that's always trouble.
Yeah.
I'll rest in peace to the actor. A great guy. Great actor. Terrifying. For an old guy. Jesus. But yeah. And that's when he dedicates his life to fighting crime. And the side characters I could do without. Like, I got annoyed by Foggy. I'm like, wow, you're really annoying when you're not in Netflix, man. I'm sorry, John Favreau, but didn't like his character here. I'm like, can you please shut up?
I got really confused as whether if Foggy knows that Matt
Is
is
Daredevil?
Daredevil or not. Because like a lot of times you're not questioning that Matt like is doing really not blind people things.
Yeah, right? Like you're not questioning how he knows people are lying or not. You're like, you just stand there in the middle of the court and you're like, you're lying. And you're like, how do you know that? Can you explain that? What
Right.
voodoo magic do? You can't see. How can you tell? Like even Karen's barely a character here. I'm like, oh, it's Grey's Anatomy as Karen Page. Cool.
Who's Karen Page?
Ellen Pompeo from Grey's Anatomy. She's the
Didn't
Grace
see her.
and she's the Grace in Anatomy. I'm kidding. I don't know. I've never seen that show.
I mean,
I don't know where it's going with that. To be honest, I do love Michael Clark Duncan as Kingpin. Like when people are like Kingpin is like 98% muscle and 2% fat. I see Michael Clark Duncan. I'm like, I believe you. Holy fuck.
I love this little spin on like the Kingpin. Yes, he's supposed to be white in the comics, but here he's black. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I say Michael Clark Duncan did a pretty good job being Kingpin.
It's just that
He's a little
he's,
bit, yeah.
it's not that utilized often. I'm like, this is why Daredevil works as a show, because you don't really have time to develop Kingpin, even though he is pretty cool here. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, here he's very suave and like you can tell that he's a pretty strong combatant. But in Daredevil, like a lot of times you're kind of scared of Kingpin because like he might blow up on you,
Right.
you work for him or something like that.
Yeah. I say both Michael Clark Duncan and Vincent D'Onofrio are like equal in like how well they are as
I don't
Kingpin.
think we had a bad Kingpin yet.
Yeah. Even Liev Schreiber, even though his design, you're like, how do you go to the bathroom, man? Can you explain the physics of Across the Spider-Verse Kingpin? Because I'm
He has
still
money.
confused.
Don't worry. He got money.
Yeah. Speaking of villains, the worst part is definitely Colin Farrell as Bullseye. I'm like, what the fuck is up with his acting? I'm Bullseye. I'm Bullseye.
Yeah. Yeah, like he's like doing the bullseye thing as
Like,
he does the
'cause
cross. on
we
his chest. I was
all
like,
know how amazing of an actor he is. It just really comes down to the writing and directing for this
Yeah.
guy.
and I don't think they read what Bullseye is.
Yeah.
He's not just like Slytherin kind of character. He's like, he's not like that.
Yeah, it's cold and
You know?
calculating. Like what we got on Netflix is more accurate to what we have here. And you're like, what?
Yeah, or he's like a tad bit insane. Maybe has serial killer tendencies.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just the overacting that kills me. Every time I see this movie, I'm like, can you stop doing the whole overtop? Like, I'm Bullseye. Bullseye. I'm like, yes, I get it.
Yeah, dude, I haven't seen this movie in a while. I got really excited when he was like, "I need a costume." I was like, "Yeah." Yeah.
Yeah, like, where's this costume? I guess that was for the sequel they never had, because they do set up for a sequel, and I'm like, that's a shame. You never got one. Unlike Ghost Rider.
Like, yeah, like again, I was like kind of waiting for his costume because, like, I can't take the crocodile skin leather jacket.
Yeah.
You know,
And
and I don't know.
yes.
It's just.
I hate the fucking Peter daughter scene between Daredevil and Elektra. I'm like, what the fuck is this supposed to be?
No, here's the weirdest part. It's just like he was flirting with her. It's like, oh, you're blind. I'm so sorry. Anyway, I'm gonna like leave and not be courteous to you at all. And then she was like, she's just like, oh, I've been trained by multiple senseis. And then they have a fight in the park. And I was like, at this point, I will not believe this guy is blind.
Right?
Been like, this so bullshit. Just drop the fucking act. You know, like.
Like, I'm not buying it. Nobody's buying it, man. I was
Yeah,
like,
and like I don't know if you noticed the entire fucking like when they do have a fight scene, like you see Daredevil just absolutely wasting a fucking thug.
yeah.
You don't see him doing this shit, you know, like there's no this, and they're doing that. They're pulling like a 90s kung fu movie
Yeah, I'm
or
like,
80s kung fu movie.
You're fucking Daredevil. You're not fucking Iron Fist. What's all this Jackie Chan?
Like even
bullshit?
Iron Fist doesn't do this shit,
Right?
you know. And I was like, what's this? Because when they start fighting, it looks legit.
Yeah. Like,
Like
he fights like you expect Daredevil to fight, and then when he's with Elektra, you're like, why do you fight like that? Don't understand.
Yeah.
Uh,
Like I feel bad for that one person where like Kingpin's finally like taking Hell's Kitchen,
mhm.
and the guy is just like kind of spreading the word that hey, this ain't Daredevil's town no more.
Yeah.
The dude just gets absolutely wasted. I was like, well, calm down. And he's like, this ain't your town anymore, didn't you hear? And Ben Affleck's just like, I was like, oh.
Like you're not Batman yet. Can you calm the fuck down?
Yeah, you put in a Rorschach here. I'm like, Jesus.
Right. You know, there's a deleted scene where Bullseye kills the cameo by Frank Miller, because he does have a cameo in this movie. Because Frank Miller
has a cameo?
Yeah, because he did write Daredevil for the 80s. He did what he did for Batman in the 80s. But yeah, this movie is the definition of like, you're trying, man. Can see the effort, but it's just so lame. Like the theater scene, like how the story unfolds. I'm like, wow, this really has no substance whatsoever. I can't tell if you're focusing on the court shit or on the mystical shit of Daredevil.
A lot of times, it's just hard to believe that Matt Murdock's blind.
Right.
You know? Because he does a lot of things that were like, this person can clearly see. like he's walking up the stairs without the guardrail. You know, like, I'm not blind or anything, but like, I was like, this guy is clearly able-bodied. Yes, that is his superpower. He's blind, but he could somewhat see.
Yeah, he is somewhat. Well, in this movie, they're like, it's like echolocation. I'm like, sure, why not?
Yeah, right. And yeah. Anyway.
Well, I say echolocation because when he's like, I need to see people in the rain, so I know their face. I'm like, is that how that works? Is that how your powers work?
I don't know if echolocation. If you have sound bouncing all around, wouldn't that make you even more blind? I don't know.
I wouldn't know. I never used echolocation.
I'm not blind.
Yeah. Never used echolocation in my life. But yeah, I somewhat like the reference to the comics where Elektra gets killed by her own Psy. I'm like, at least you're consistent with the comics. So I'll say, in terms of like events wise, style wise, I'm like, Daredevil's costume looks weird. Bullseye barely has a costume. The only accurate costume there is here is Elektra. I'm like, yeah, you
really.
Look, man, I'm stretching.
Yeah, so is her leather pants, but like, it's not even red.
You forget we're in the X-Men era of like letters in the end now.
I know, but if you say that's accurate, then what's Daredevil? Daredevil's the most accurate fucking thing here.
Yeah, like 80% until you get to the nose, and you're like, yes, I can tell it's Ben Affleck. Can you please fix that? It's pardoning me. Like when he's up close to the guy, being like, "A justice will come to you." I'm like, your nose is sticking out. How can he not tell he was the lawyer going against him? He's like, you're Matt Murdock. Why are you in a costume?
And like, all I gotta say is the only accurate thing about Elektra here is the size. I'm like, that's it.
Yeah. Again, it's just a product of the 2000s, not really taking comic book movies as seriously, like as later in the latter 2000s with like Iron Man and The Dark Knight. Like it's really until like Christopher Nolan's Batman Begins that we're like, oh, we can take this shit seriously. All right.
By the way, I'm very bothered by this one scene where like Foggy Nelson's just like, you know, at a ballroom and he's just caressing like an eagle statue with tits on it, and I'm just like,
that's how you know. You know how you also can tell this is from the 2000s?
Yeah, early 2000s.
The soundtrack.
Oh fuck yeah, Evanescence. Like when that died, I was like, oh.
And that's the only part of the movie where I perked up, like, oh shit, bring me back to life. Fuck yeah.
Yeah. And she's like training, and she's like,
yeah.
I'm like, cool.
I'm like, yeah, wake me up.
Seriously at all. I couldn't take the scene seriously at all either. I was like, alright.
I do love the fact when Kingpin knows Daredevil is coming for him. He's like, alright, it's time to go down. And he's like removing his suit. And like when Daredevil is face to face with him, he's just in a tank top. And you just see how big Michael Clark Duncan is. I'm like, yeah, Jesus Christ. You are the definition of a Kingpin build. Because, holy fuck. The fight is satisfying. until it becomes echolocation, and you're like, oh, okay, sure.
Yeah. Also, I say absolute bullshit because, like, you know, Matt Murdock like finds the strength to fight Kingpin and Bullseye, and like succeed. But then, when Electro was like getting her ass absolutely beamed by Bullseye, he just has like a shoulder that it was like, I can't. I just can't. I'm like, really, bruh?
Yeah, and then when he gets to Kingpin,
like I hate his face too. He's like, oh fuck yeah, that shoulder shot. I'm like, okay, calm down.
yeah, and then when he gets to Kingpin, he's like, all right, I'm ready to go. And you're like, were you just stabbed? Did you just fight Bullseye? Wasn't Bullseye owning the fight 90%?
Like, I was like, I guess if you both were just going at Bullseye, like you could have gotten him,
right? Like,
well,
and like,
anyway,
Electra wouldn't have her god awful spin-off movie too.
Oh my god. Oh lordy, yeah. When she forgot she's human, I was like, "Whoa, what's happening here?"
And then it ends with the case at the beginning of the movie being solved. I'm like, oh, that's still a thing? What? And
what?
The case with the guy who passed out with the murder weapon. See, even you forgot.
Yeah. Like, all I remember is just like Matt Murdock like describing who he is and what he does as a profession. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I'm a dark knight. I'm like, it's too early in your career, Ben Affleck. Stop it.
No, not yet. Not yet.
I mean, asked if he got utilized as Batman anyway, so you're like, damn, you got fucked twice by the comic book movie industry. Poor guy. But yeah, what would you rate Ben Affleck's Daredevil?
It was fun.
Sure.
To a degree, fun, I guess. Nah, sorry, man. I'm giving it a 4.
No frills, no trills.
Yeah, like I like seeing Colin Farrell just having fun with the role. You know, man pulling like a common writer standing on a bike.
Yeah.
Shit, I was like, okay, cool.
It's amazing to see the difference when you see Colin Farrell having fun in a role with bad writing versus Colin Farrell having fun in a role with great writing. And you're like,
yeah,
this man commits either way. Good on him.
And like, yeah, I say Michael Clark Duncan's like a very big standout here.
Yeah.
You know. Also, by the way, I don't understand that scene where like, yes, Bullseye like kills Elektra's dad, and then like Elektra's like, Daredevil did it. Like,
yeah.
Okay, huh? Did I miss something?
Also, this Daredevil's pretty like bad at concealing the
being
fact
a lawyer?
And being Daredevil because he leaves evidence all around. Like when Kevin Smith is like, look what I found, and it's also Matt Murdock's walking cane. I'm like, really?
Yeah, I was like, it's so funny. Yeah.
Like imagine like Kingpin has him on the road and he's like, what does your gadget do? Are you blind, man?
It's like, oh shit, Daredevil's blind.
Right.
You know, like and also, God, what was his name again? The new Daredevil.
Oh, the actor Charlie Cox.
Yeah, Charlie Cox. There we go. He does such a way better job because, like, I think we've only had one courtroom scene with Ben Affleck here.
Oh yeah.
And he was losing, and he lost, and he was like so butthurt about it that he had to beat up a guy.
Yeah.
While Matt Murdock is kind of proven to be a really good lawyer.
Yeah.
But he's like for the people anyway. Yeah. Yeah. It's a 4 out of 10 for me. It's not great.
It's not.
But it's funny. It's funny when you're like maybe intoxicated. Sure, have a few drinks and then watch this movie.
Yeah. As far as Daredevil fans are concerned, this is not it. I agree. It's a 4 out of 10. It's like below average, even for a comic book movie. You're like, I know you're from the 2000s, but come on, man. We have X-Men, X2, Spider-Man 1 and 2. Daredevil couldn't join the club of like, maybe this is pretty good. Like, even Ghost Rider is pretty fun. Yeah, it's not the best, but like we all agree that Ghost Rider is at least enjoyable. This here, I only enjoyed the moments where I'm like, I like Evanescence. I like the soundtrack. The rest I'm like, Matt Murdock is really bad at being Daredevil and a lawyer, man. It's like Ben Affleck wasn't meant for this role, you know. It's like he's more
Yeah.
suited for being, I don't know, a more famous
bad.
a bad big chunky bad boy. But yeah. But yeah, anything else to add for Daredevil's Ben Affleck? I love the fact that I had to clarify that. Otherwise, we would be like, you mean Netflix? No, I mean 2000s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ben Affleck's.
Every time he was at the hallway, I was like, oh, this. Oh wait, no, it's too early in his career in Daredevil's
It ain't
life.
it. It ain't
Yeah.
it.
But yeah, March 4 is the day for the revival of Daredevil. It's coming back to Disney Plus, the original cast, and I'm excited.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, and John Bernthal is
have
coming
the
back
yellow
too. No, he has the original, the red suit
Okay.
from
alright.
Netflix. I'm excited to see them back because, again, when it was cancelled all those years ago, I'm like, are you fucking serious? You end with such a cliffhanger of Bullseye returning, and you're like, Netflix is like, bye, and you're like, what do you mean bye?
Yeah.
Bye, what?
Yeah, I guess they all like Disney's already kind of popping off at that point.
Yeah, but yeah, yeah, all I'll say is that I'm excited. But yeah, anything else you want to say for the new show, or anything else for this whole lineup?
Yeah, I can't wait for like the on the boots Marvel characters.
Yeah.
And I would like for since we've already seen him like interact with Spider-Man, I would like to see Tom Holland
Yeah,
like come in from time to time.
yeah, with his new suit, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, what's your favorite, to the audience watching? What's your favorite early 2000s comic book movie? Is it this? Is it Wanted with James McAvoy? Is it Kick-Ass with Aaron Taylor Johnson? Can't think of anything else for the life of me. Whatever it is, comment down below. If you like what you see here, please leave a like, subscribe, and ding the bell icon to get notified of when we upload next. We're also on Spotify and TikTok. Oh, sorry. TikTok to see your best and funniest moments. Spotify to hear us on the go. And the video ends with on Letterboxd and Zoda's Voices on TikTok. Where can they find you?
You can find me at JomJoM on Instagram. It is Mark.
And until the next time, we'll see you then. Bye, everybody.
Ciao.